Hey everyone, what's going on? In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to make JavaScript actually do something in our web pages. I'm going to teach you two key functions that are already built into the JavaScript ecosystem. That's going to be alert and prompt. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you have seen alert through browsing through the internet and stuff like that. You most likely seen a web page give you alert. Now, some of you may have also seen prompt, where we actually prompt the user of the web page to input some information, and that way we can work with that information and do something. So let's go ahead and figure out how to do alerts and if statements, first starting with alert. So alert is one of those key functions that are already built into the JavaScript ecosystem. Now how we're going to write it is we're going to have our script tags just like we have right here, an opening and a closing script tag. Now what will happen is when we run the JavaScript program, it's automatically going to create this HTML and it's going to run the script in there as well. So it's going to automatically start running our script. Now we're going to write an alert function. So what we're going to do is we're going to call alert. So we're going to do alert, and then we're going to create two parentheses. So an opening one and a closing one. And as you can see, Komodo automatically put in our closing one, and we can end this off with a semicolon. Now let's go ahead and save that and see what happens. Now as you can see, we have nothing in here. So as you can expect, we're going to get an alert basically with nothing in there. So let's go ahead and save that, and let's go and view it in Google Chrome. So open that up. So we're going to expect an alert, and just like that, as you can see, the page at javascript.html says blank, nothing, because we put nothing in there. But let's go ahead and change that. Let's make this alert say something. So let's go back into Komodo, and let's make this alert that welcome to my website. So if we wanted to make it alert welcome to my website, we can't just put in welcome to my website. Right? It's not going to work like that. It's going to try to look for a variable called welcome to my website, which doesn't exist. So what we need to do is we need to alert it, and we need to tell it to print out a string. Now how do we make strings? Well, we put those double quotes in there. So we can go ahead and put a quote right here, and we're going to tell it welcome to my website. And that'd be a simple alert you would give to the users of your web page. Let's go ahead and close off that quotation mark. And now what we have is we have an alert that's going to tell our user, welcome to my website, the first thing they do when they open the website. So let's go ahead and save that and view what it looks like. So let's go ahead and open that up and refresh. And as you can see, we have an alert that says, welcome to my website. So alerts are that easy. They allow us to alert the user of something, and then they can quickly close out of this. They can press OK, and then that's it. The alert is gone, and now they're back to viewing their web page. So really simple to use. We can also alert variables. So for example, let's say we created the variable x equals, and let's make this the number 7, right? And let's have another variable y equals the number 8. Now let's make sure we put semicolons after all of these as good style. And let's make the last variable z equal 7 times, let's put a space in there just for good styling, 7 times 8 and semicolon, right? So now we have variable x equals 7, and this will be the number 7. Then we have variable y, which will equal 8, and then we have variable z, which will be 7 times 8. Now as you can imagine, variable z will be given the value of 56. So let's have our website alert us what the value of var z is. So let's remove this string in here. Now inside this parentheses, we're going to alert our users what the value of variable z is. Now since z is a variable, we don't have to put it in those strings, in those double quotes. We want it to print out a variable, so we don't have to put any double quotes. So what we have to do is inside this alert, we're going to put our letter z, and that will tell JavaScript to alert us with the value, or basically the value of the variable z. So let's go ahead and see that, and we should expect an alert that prints out the number 56. So let's save that and let's refresh this page. And as you can see, we get an alert that says 56. So now you've seen JavaScript do something. JavaScript basically alerted our user, and it did calculations in the background. As you can see, we were able to do 7 times 8, and we were able to alert the user at the same time, and we are allowed to basically alert them through a calculation. So JavaScript is really powerful. As you can see, we can do so many things, and we can make our web page dynamic, and it's going to be user friendly, and it's going to allow us to bring our user in and allow them to interact with our website. So let's go ahead and learn the second most important built-in function that is in JavaScript, and that would be prompt. Now prompt will do essentially what it says it's going to do. It's going to basically prompt our user to input some type of information. Now, when we want to take information from a user, we have to store that through a variable. We want to have that variable or whatever the user inputs stored in our program. So what we do is we make a variable. For example, variable x will equal. Now, what do we want variable x to equal? Well, we want to get variable x to be the data that we collect from the user. So we're going to call variable x the prompt. So we're going to write prompt, and then in parentheses, we're going to want to ask them what we're going to prompt them. So let's say input your age, right? So now what this is going to do is it's going to create a variable called x. So var x. Now var x will be equal to prompt, so we're going to prompt the user for them to input their age, and it's going to, once the user puts their age, it's going to store variable x inside here. So let's do something. So we know we're going to get a value from here when we get the user to put something. Let's say it's going to be an age, right? Now whenever we get prompt, all our values are going to be in strings. Now even if they put 5 in here as their age, var x will be the string 5. It's not going to be the number 5. So we can't do var x times 5 and it won't work like that, right? Because it's going to be a string times a number. And we can't multiply a string with a number. We can only multiply a number with a number. So let's create a variable y, and we're going to make this equal to whatever the person puts in their age as times 5. So what are we going to do? We're going to wrap the number function around the variable x, because we want to change the variable x's string into a number. So we're going to write number, which is going to be converting our string to an actual mathematical number. So we want to convert the variable x into a number. And then what else do we want to do? Let's multiply this number with the number 5. And that's it. So as you can imagine, for example, when we run this code, we're going to get a prompt box that's going to tell the user, input your age. Now if the user puts in 15, they're going to do, next is now if the user puts in the age 15, variable y is going to run, and it's going to take the number that they put in for their age times 5. And then we can have this output something. So let's see what the result is. So let's go ahead, and we learned about alerts. So let's let the JavaScript program alert us of what that number is going to be. So let's make it alert y, which will be the answer to getting our age and multiplying it by 5. So we'll put y in the parentheses for the alert, and then we can go ahead and end that with a semicolon, and let's go and run our web page. So let's go ahead and refresh it. Now as you can see, we get a prompt. So now JavaScript is telling us to input our age. So let's go ahead and put in the age, let's say 24, right? So now we're going to press OK, and now we're storing 24 into our variable x, right? So now it's going to take variable x data, which is what we're going to put 24 in. Now it's going to find variable y, and variable y is going to be equal to the string 24 converted into a number. So it's going to be the number 24 times 5, and at the end we're going to get an alert that's going to tell us the output of 24 times 5. So let's go ahead and press OK. And now JavaScript has alerted us that 24 times 5 is equal to 120. So as you can see, JavaScript is really helpful in allowing us to perform calculations as well as gather information from the user, as well as alerting the user with information. So as you can see, those are the two most important functions that are already built into the JavaScript ecosystem. Now there's three most important ones, which are going to be the number function, which converts a string into a number, the alert function, which alerts the user of something, and then the prompt function, which will allow us to retrieve information from the user's input and allow us to process that. So let's go ahead and do something else. Let's try variable x will equal the prompt, what's your name? So we're going to gather what this user's name is. And now we'll make another prompt, so var y will equal the prompt of, let's say, what's your favorite sport? Right, so now we're asking the user what to Now we're asking the user two things. We're going to prompt them, hey, what's your name? And we're going to prompt them, what's your favorite sport? Now let's make an answer. So we're going to make an alert. And what do we want this alert to say? Well, we want to make a sentence. Let's try to make up a sentence that takes the person's name and then writes the word likes, and then we'll put likes playing, and we'll put the answer that they put to this question, which is their favorite sport. So how do we do this? We're going to do this through a method of strings, and we're going to concatenate strings. So what are we going to put first? Well, we want to take the person's name first. So let's say, for example, we put Joe in here. So we're going to say Joe likes to play basketball. So let's go ahead and put an alert. Now, what do we want this alert to come out with? We're going to first start with the name of the person, which is stored under a variable. So we're going to alert X. Now we want to concatenate this because it's going to be a string. So plus. Now what else do we want to add? Well, we want to add the string likes to play. So we're going to put in quotes likes to play. Now we're going to exit that quote, and we're going to add another addition sign so we can add the sport that Joe likes to play. So we're going to add the variable in, which is Y, and that is it. So looking back at this alert, what we have is at the end of all of this script, we're going to get the person's name plus likes to play plus their sport. So let's go ahead and run this and see what this looks like. So we're going to refresh our page, and immediately we get a prompt saying, what's your name? So my name is Tamer Bader. Now when we press OK, we should get another prompt, just like that. Now it's asking us, what's your favorite sport? Now my favorite sport is basketball. So once I press OK, I should receive an alert saying Tamer Bader likes to play basketball. Now let's see if that's what happens. So as you can see, it printed out exactly what we wanted, but the spacing is a little bit weird. That's because we need to include spacing right before we give us our string. So let's go back into Komodo. Now as you can see, when we concatenate, it automatically puts it right next to it and it groups it together. Now we want to add a space between these. So right in the string, in the beginning of the string, we're going to add a space, just like that. And then after the word play, after the word play, we're going to add a space so that we can space out the word play and the person's sport. So as you can see, now we have your name plus space bar, likes to play, space bar, the sport that they're going to play. So let's go ahead and run that again with a different person's name. So let's refresh. So let's play Joe, and they like to play hockey. And let's put OK. And there we go. Now we have good spacing. Joe likes to play hockey. And there you go. Now you made a simple program using two of the most important functions in JavaScript, the alert and the prompt. And now we are good to go to learning more advanced stuff such as if-else statements and while loops. So see you guys in the next lesson.